This is a question that I got from a client. Kendal, can you please tell us about services you provide?
Yes. So again, my services could be different from another financial advisor's services, but we really only offer 3 main services, and I like to keep it simple that way. The first is financial planning, and financial planning is a part of every service I offer, but it's also its own standalone service because it's the most important, right? You really should not be jumping into investing until you have a plan in place. That looks like creating a budget if you don't already have one. That looks like setting goals anywhere from 1, 3, 5, and 10 year, and then working backwards from those goals. By the end of that financial plan, you should have down to the penny exactly what needs to be going into these different accounts that we've set up to fund these different goals. What is an early retirement? What are the chances of that? Sending your kid to college, maybe you have multiple kids, taking care of aging parents, but most importantly, your financial advisor, whoever you work with, should be talking about risk. If you're up 20% in the stock market, you're so happy, but that's not the reality of investing year to year. If the stock market's down 10% and you're down 30%, you're crapping your pants. You're calling me, you're freaking out, you want to pull out, and that's a risk problem. There's a spectrum of risk, and we've got to find out where you fall on that spectrum of risk before we can even start talking about what type of investments that you should be invested in.
Such helpful information. What are the other 2 services that you provide?
The next one is investing. That is where we are taking your investments, whether you have existing investments or setting up new ones, and we are choosing them based off of the level of risk. Maybe you want to have faith-based investments. Maybe you don't want to invest in oil and you want to do sustainable investing. And I do that a little different than most advisors. So the industry standard is for you to meet with your advisor about once a year. I care more about education and us being on the same page. So our relationships are going to be more like partnerships. We have mandatory quarterly meetings because, like you said earlier, you just rather not look at it. And that's why we do it that way. You're learning whether you want to or not if we're meeting that frequently. We're talking about what's going on in the stock market, how that's affecting your portfolio, and we're staying true to our financial plan. I'm holding you accountable, and we're taking those steps to the next level. And then the third service is more of a DIYer solution. It's consult, right? We're meeting on it by an hourly basis. I charge an hourly fee. I have a lot of clients who do that are really disciplined and good at managing their finances on their own. And then they come to me once a year, maybe once every 2 years, and I just make sure they're on track and they're, as a third party, making sure they're taking the steps they need.
My job as a realtor is to help people move, to help people buy or sell home, but Kendal's job is to help people financially prepare for that huge move. This is great information, and there's more to come, and I will have another question for Kendal soon.